Edward Riney,
Joseph Leo Stiff,
Billy Wright,
Wendell Ray Maxwell,
Charles D. Armstrong Jr.,
John Frederick Fred Biggs,
Carl D. Hayden,
John Jack William Rust,
Patrick L. Fulkerson,
George Raymond Hatfield,
Paul Douglas Page Sr.,
William J. Bill Zogelman,
Dr. Billy H. Chandler,
Roger Curtis Basinger,
Louis Morton,
William Darrell Bell,
David Wayne Willis Willie,
William E. Young,
John Jack William Ray,
Jackie Darrell Bartlett,
Hubie,
Milton M.
Hippodale,
Haddon,
Thomas
Hippodale
Gaylord
Phil.
Wathen,
Glendale Dale Sam Harris,
Robert Slayton Harder Jr.,
Robert W. Bob Waters,
I got healed.
Walter E. Bays,
John L. Yates,
Danny Wayne Durbin,
Willard Will Lindsay Oost Sr.,
Donald A. Lloyd,
William Dillon McDonough III,
Ronald G. Shelton,
Virgil Eugene McPherson,
Joseph Richard Flaherty Sr.,
Ronald G. Shelton,
T. L. Plain,
James Hugh Sullivan,
Jerome Jerry Lee Hulsey,
Russell F. Adams,
Jack Clifford Freilich,
James Jim Coon,
Harry Wayne Anderson,
David Neil McGregor,
Robert Mark Kasinger,
Rose Ann Griggs,
David E. Simpson,
John Lindauer Jr.,
Joseph Jody Beard,
Arnold Goat Carter Jr.,
Donald Joseph Fisher,
David W. Evans,
Joseph Allen Hayne,
John Garvey Sharp Jr.,
Roger R. Sanders,
Dr. Lawrence Larry R. Wright,
David W. Evans,
Robert M. Bob Potts,
Donald L. Crow,
Robert Clyde West,
Charles Henry Brumley,
Joseph R. Dockmeyer Sr.,
Charles Anthony Tony Lastly,
Stephen Ray Schwartz,
Jerry Lee Lambrich,
James Alvin Taylor,
John W. Baker Jr.,
Robin T. Terry Welburn,
Norman S. Smith,
John Robert Payne Sr.,
Daniel Scott Kirkman,
Wilford Wayne Dorhor,
Stanley E. Archicavas,
Michael Ray Holman,
James Herman Witt,
William Clifford Bill Schock,
Thomas Tommy Eugene Hagan,
Butch Baird,
Patrick Joseph Cullen,
William Scott Gunn,
Gerald Jerry Allen Payne,
Maurice J. Schaefer,
Charles Thomas Jackson,
Jack R. Gaddis,
Raleigh Jean Mills,
Cecil L. Stone,
Don T. Smith,
Don Donnie Thomas,
Sherman Glenn Cook,
Russell Kenneth Settle,
Merle Wayne Mills,
Gerald Wayne Howers,
Robert Lee Apache Sanders,
Charles Mallory Charlie Hagan,
Galen B. Hepler,
Donald Lewis Draper,
Ralph R. Brewer,
Dan M. Griffith,
James M. R. Hayden,
Brian Michael Hamilton,
Anthony Joseph Cox,
Carlin T. Boy Waltrip,
Thomas Tommy Birch Bell,
Robert Blackie Sorrells, Charles
Butch Basham,
Stephen Lynn Bivens,
A. W. Sisk,
Joseph Leo Basham,
Ghazi Bela Bakken,
Macon Woody Dooms,
Randall L. Cecil,
William Darrell Crutcher,
William L. Talbot,
William Galen Linville,
Larry Dean May,
Charles Dudley Atwell,
Georgiana Jean Ashby Chavez,
Joseph Jewel Blanford Jr.,
Gerald Alvin Kennedy,
Bobby Dean Jenkins,
Randall Hugh Cotton Richardson,
Donnie Ray Carlton,
George Lee Greenwell,
Kevin Lee Smithers,
Jerry Wayne Gates,
Roland Bud Jones,
Thomas Bubba Mormon Jr.,
Arthur William Horman,
Ramon Lugo LaBoy Jr.,
Otha Howard Jack Holbrook,
Joseph Raymond Howard,
James Clifton Schultz Sr.,
Donald Wayne Whittinghill,
John C. Fleming Jr.,
Joseph Raymond Woodward,
William Lester Brown,
Gary R. Johnson,
Lawrence Larry William Hamilton,
Hugh Reitmeyer,
William Douglas Basham Sr.,
Louis Massey Jr.,
Francis Bernard Watts Waltrus,
Kenneth Ray Large,
Ernest Sharp Fulkerson,
Richard H. Summer,
William Edward Pierce,
Dong Melvin King,
Ronald Lee Ammon Sr.,
Benny Free,
Walter Milton Mitchell,
George Sly Sylvester Smith,
Robert E. Montgomery,
Ronald Jasper Wigginton,
Doyle B. Wilcox,
Peter Xavier Armendariz,
Joseph Blaze Bryan,
Randy C. Basham,
Melvin Joe Foster Sr.,
Charles Gregory Greg Johnson,
Robert Bob H. Heisler,
George Franklin Hunt,
Terry Gray Potts,
Lowell Wayne Higdon,
James L. Drago Goforth,
Larry Wayne Walker,
Wade W. Nelson,
Charles Taylor Day, Jr.,
Charles Russell Matthews,
James Augustus Cecil,
James Edward Bruce,
Houston McCulloch Mac Morris,
Donald E. Bartley Jr.,
James K. Williams,
Henry Hank Rummage Jr.,
Larry Ray Chapman,
James L. J. Tucker,
John J.C. William Calhoun,
Billy C. Bartlett,
John O. Bud Borman,
Larry Ivan Ford,
Marvin Conway Harris,
Michael Elliott Deese,
Gene Lee Tyler,
Deborah Lee Cole Sands,
Charles Lee Pee Wee Clark,
Dr. William Neal Pageant,
Alan Rafferty,
Robert Francis Brenner,
William R. Spurrier,
Carl Frederick
William J. Wilkins,
Ronnie L. Merriweather,
David Dave Hatfield,
Larry Donald Mayfield,
Robert Eugene Garrett,
James Keith Kiefer Halsey,
James William McManaway,
William Larry Wilkerson,
Bryant Gale McCamish,
Norbert C. Howard,
Roger Gregory Franey,
Robert Bob F. Downs,
William Henry Freeman,
Wilgus Dude Vest,
James Marvin Hamilton,
Robert Allen Englehart,
Richard Dick Thomas Leahy,
Marvin Russell House,
Jack H. Lane,
Elbert Ebb Freeman Peacock,
Frank R. Cox Jr.,
Charles V. All,
Shelby Dean Johnson,
James Philip J.P. Rusher,
Douglas E. Burton,
Gideon F. Id Robbins,
D'Angelo LePage Buck,
Frank Abrams Jr.,
Donald Don R. Richardson,
Roger Lee Howard,
Tom Wathen,
Charles William Strail,
Linford Leroy Tapp,
Paul Nimbus,
Charles H. Chuck Reynolds,
Joey A. Higgs,
Warren Lee Nicely Sr.,
John Allen Farley,
Benford C. Sanders,
Joseph Russell Baumgarten Sr.,
Monty Ray Graham,
Terry W. Arnold,
William Bill Edward Danhire Jr.,
Richard Rick Wayland Horton,
Henry True,
Richard K. Now,
Alan Edwin Winsberg,
Bill Troutman,
Denzel Bailey,
Anton Steve Vass,
Merle Partridge Jr.,
James Eugene Rich,
Charles A. Chuck Kaler,
James L. Hawkins,
Charles D. Bowles,
Anthony Mark Tony Ivy,
William H. Cottrell,
Alan H. Garsh,
Richard F. Eds,
Frank John Franz John,
Dale Smith Richardson,
Martin Lewis Bum Sr.,
Donald L. Donnie Jones,
Carol Sue Brown,
Tony Dean,
Buddy Brown Jr.,
Gilbert Franklin Nick Nicholson Sr.,
Lieutenant Commander Joseph Thomas Evans,
Arthur Leo Swartz,
Robert June King,
G. Ted Smith Jr.,
Kenneth Ray Bad Eye Byrne,
Thomas Clifford Freeman,
Hubert D. Hubie Farrell,
Norman J. Hayden,
Danny Ray Word,
J. Randy Schultz,
Thomas Roger Clark,
Dennis Paul Bennett,
Nick Mark Nocia,
Edward J. Holman,
James Jimmy Thomas Weeder Jr.,
Thomas E. Coombs,
Martin Todd Devine,
Carl Shane Lindsay,
Carolyn Michelle Bavo Bowles,
Gerald Jerry Hall,
Austin John Yiser,
Paul Blackburn,
Thomas Frame Ball,
William Everett Lyles,
Dennis John DeCristo,
John Easton Mann,
Charles Arthur Brooks,
Albert Owen Smith,
Brian Keith Hay,
James Michael Simmons,
Joseph Benedict Smith,
Darrell Thomas Lee Goins,
Charles Ray Buddy Collins,
Clyde Griffin Kincaid,
Larry Wayne Lewis,
Edgar Hugh Duncan,
William Doug Roscoe Crow,
Joseph Justin James,
William Maurice Wink,
James Hale,
Thomas McIntosh,
James Girton,
William C. Wallace,
Heather Cameron,
Johnny Morris,
Franklin Scott Boland,
Ansel James A.J. Bickett,
Michael Stanley Baker,
Clark Nathaniel McHenry,
Jimmy Thomas Jones Sr.,
William Earl Mosley,
Ernest A. Moore Jr.,
William Arnold Meyer,
William Ray Rusher,
Louis Crabtree,
Carl Donahue,
Paul Edward Westerfield,
Jared Michael Hessinger,
Harold Turpinian,
Louis Spencer Crabtree,
Lorenza Don L.D. Knight,
Michael White.